The biggest passenger aircraft in the world is the Airbus A380. First sold in 2007 and still flying today. Fully loaded, the Airbus weighs 575 tons, that's approximately equal to 200 African elephants or 9,500 average humans. So how do you get 200 African elephants off the ground? Let's dive in and explore the science that underpins this incredible machine. Let's begin by analyzing a crucial part of the flight process, the takeoff here. We have an A380 getting ready for flight. At the start of the takeoff, the plane accelerates from a standstill. If we take a snapshot, we can draw all the forces acting on the plane. Here we have the thrust force produced by the engine, which propels the plane forward. Every object moving through the air experiences drag, or air resistance, which pushes back on the plane in the opposite direction. To accelerate, the thrust needs to be much greater than the drag force. We also have our beloved force gravity pulling the plane down towards the earth. This is its weight at this point. The wings are generating some lift, but not quite enough to get the plane off. The ground, the A380, will continue to accelerate until it reaches its takeoff speed. This is 315 kilometers per hour, similar to the top speed of an F1 car. The pilot pulls back on the control stick, which moves the rear flaps and deflects air upwards. This pushes the rear of the aircraft down and tilts the front upwards. At this point, the wings begin to generate even more lift force, enough to overcome the effects of gravity and send the plane into the sky. Lift is clearly the key force that allows planes to fly. To us, it's just an upwards force from the wings that allows the plane to repel against the force of gravity. But what is it exactly, and how is it created? There are two aspects to lift: angle of attack and pressure differential. Let's look at angle of attack first. Here we have air moving from right to left on the page, and here we have an aerofoil, which is a cross-section of a plane wing. If you take an aerofoil and draw a line from the leading edge to the trailing edge, the angle of attack is the angle between this straight line to the horizontal. As the wing tilts upwards, it deflects the oncoming air downwards from Newton's third law. We know that the air will push back up on the aerofoil, thus creating lift. This works for any object, even a flat plate. If air is moving past the surface quickly enough, an angle of attack will generate lift force. The second effect is a pressure differential. We know that if there is a higher pressure on one side of an object than the other, the object will move in the direction of lower pressure. The pressure on the top surface of a wing is lower than the bottom surface, meaning the wing moves upwards. Again, here we have an aerofoil with air moving from right to left. The flow lines are displaced by the shape of the wing. Notice that the flow lines remain attached to the wing as they pass over the very top region and move towards the rear. This can be explained by the Konda Effect, which is a phenomenon whereby a fluid moving over a curved surface sticks to the surface. This can be visualized by water flowing over a curved surface and remaining attached to it until it reaches the bottom. But why does the top surface produce low pressure? Well, the curved surface at the top will compress or squeeze the flow lines of air above it. And due to the conservation of mass, this will cause the air to flow faster. We know that faster moving air exerts less pressure. This can be explained by using a hairdryer and balloon. When the hairdryer is switched on, the balloon stays afloat above it. There is a fast-moving column of air around the balloon, while the surrounding air is stationary. When the hairdryer is rotated, the balloon moves to the side and remains afloat. This is how we know that faster moving air creates lower pressure. The surrounding air is pushing the balloon back into the fast-moving column of air. You might have seen flaps extending forwards and backwards on plane wings. These are used to increase the surface area and the curvature of the wing. The more curved the wing, the more lift it produces. This helps for takeoff and landing where the aircraft isn't traveling quite as fast. It's important to note that just like you and me, wings come in all shapes and sizes, and they're optimized for specific applications. For example, fighter jet wings don't have much curvature, and they're mostly flat. This is because they're intended for supersonic flight and acrobatic maneuvers, where flat wings provide a more predictable response. Birds also have different types of wings, depending on how they've adapted. For example, hawks have thin, slender wings, which allow high speed and fast maneuvering. The albatross, on the other hand, which can soar from New York to Australia without stopping, has a thicker wing, which produces more lift, meaning the albatross expends less effort during long flights. So back to aircraft, these factors come together, meaning that all 200 African elephants are raised gently from the ground and carried safely to their next destination. It's truly remarkable. Hopefully you now know how these huge structures are able to take off and remain in the sky. Please consider subscribe for more fun videos in the future, and let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see next. Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you next time.